For years, Claressa had been a model of discipline and control. Her fans knew her as someone who could handle pressure like few others could. In the boxing ring, she dominated opponents with skill, strategy, and an unflinching demeanor that left no room for doubt. Outside the ring, she carried the same image: composed, dignified, and rarely one to give the public more than she wanted them to see. That image, carefully cultivated over years, made this breakdown all the more shocking. It wasn't just that she was emotional. It was that the world had been trained to expect a different version of her. People who respected her, who looked up to her for her strength, suddenly felt conflicted. They wanted to feel sympathy, yet they were confronted with a side of Claressa they had never been allowed to witness. Then came Papoose. His reaction was instantaneous, and it set the tone for the second wave of chaos. Where many saw human vulnerability, he saw an opportunity for mockery. His comments posted on social media were cutting, dismissive, and dripping with derision. The combination of Claressa's emotional moment and Papoose's public taunts created tension that escalated faster than anyone could have predicted. Suddenly, it wasn't just a viral clip. It was a full-blown social media battle. Fans, commentators, and bystanders alike were drawn into the conversation, forced to choose sides, and each side had strong opinions. Some defended Claressa fiercely, citing empathy and the humanity of experiencing intense emotion. Others seized Papoose's words as validation, criticizing her for appearing vulnerable in a world that often expects strength at all costs. Social media, as always, reacted instantly. Clips of Claressa's breakdown were re-uploaded, shared, and captioned with commentary ranging from sympathetic to cruel. Screenshots of Papoose's posts went viral in their own right, creating layers of discussion and divisive debate. Fans dissected every frame of the clip, every word of the taunt, looking for meaning, hidden intent, or justification. Old moments from both Claressa and Papoose resurfaced as context. Past interviews, past fights, past appearances, all suddenly reinterpreted in light of this new controversy. The narrative no longer belonged solely to Claressa or Papoose. It belonged to the internet. And once something belongs to the internet, it grows, mutates, and takes on a life of its own. At first, Claressa remained silent, and that silence initially seemed almost strategic. Her fans defended her, saying she didn't owe anyone an explanation, and that engaging would only give more life to a story she shouldn't have to participate in. But silence in the age of virality is complicated. Every hour without a response allowed speculation to grow. Every unaddressed comment, every unanswered question became evidence to some, proof to others. And while Claressa's inner circle likely urged patience and caution, the pressure of millions of eyes watching and judging slowly built to a breaking point. Silence in this case wasn't golden. It was suffocating. The turning point came when the intensity of the speculation became too much to ignore. Claressa couldn't stay quiet forever. Emotional exhaustion, combined with the frustration of seeing a private moment twisted into public entertainment, finally reached a peak. When she responded, it wasn't with a polished statement, a carefully calculated apology, or a public relations managed explanation. It was raw, human, and deeply emotional. Her words carried the weight of someone who had been misunderstood, misrepresented, and mocked in a matter of hours. There was hurt, yes, but also a sharp sense of indignation. The sense that she had been forced into the spotlight in a way she hadn't chosen, and that her humanity had been weaponized for entertainment. Fans were stunned. Some were relieved to hear her speak, seeing in her response the courage it takes to reclaim one's story. Others were critical, arguing that an emotional response only escalates the drama further. But the truth is, when someone is attacked on such a personal level, there's no perfect way to respond. Claressa's eruption, unlike her public persona, was a reminder that behind the strength, the medals, and the victories, there is a person with feelings, vulnerabilities, and limits. And when those limits are reached, anyone would respond. As her response circulated, the discussion only intensified. Fans split further. Commentators weighed in, analyzing every nuance of tone, body language, and word choice. People debated her authenticity, her composure, and even the ethics of online mockery. It became clear that the story wasn't just about Claressa or Papoose. It was about the internet itself and the culture of virality that amplifies moments of vulnerability into spectacles. The incident became a case study in how quickly public perception can twist and turn, and how easily human emotion can become a weapon in digital spaces. But behind the screens and the tweets, there was a deeper story. Claressa's breakdown wasn't simply entertainment. It was a reflection of the pressures that come with fame. Constant scrutiny, expectation of composure, and lack of privacy create a weight that is nearly impossible to carry without occasional cracks. Her vulnerability, though brief, resonated with those who understood the cost of visibility. It reminded fans that strength is not the absence of emotion, but the persistence to continue despite it. And it exposed a truth often overlooked in public debates. Empathy is rare, but it is necessary, especially when someone is being mocked for being human. Meanwhile, Papoose's continued online behavior ensured that the tension remained high. Whether intentional or reactionary, his mockery became part of the narrative, feeding commentary, generating memes, and creating additional layers of public discourse. It forced fans to confront the reality that online interactions between public figures are never contained. They ripple outward, shaping perception and conversation across platforms. The drama in this case wasn't just about two individuals, it was about the ecosystem of online media, audience expectations, and the fragile line between commentary and cruelty. As the days unfolded, the emotional reverberations of the incident became increasingly apparent. Claressa's supporters rallied behind her, lauding her honesty and the courage it took to stand up in such a high-pressure moment. They praised her vulnerability not as weakness, but as empowerment, someone taking control of her story in a world that often seeks to define her. In their eyes, Claressa had not only confronted a deeply personal situation, but had done so publicly, with poise, reminding everyone that reclaiming one's narrative is an essential form of self-respect. These supporters amplified her message, sharing clips, commenting on social media, and framing her actions as a necessary statement against injustice, misrepresentation, and public pressure. At the same time, critics were equally vocal. They dissected her every action, framing her responses as calculated, performative, or excessively dramatic. Every facial expression, every word choice, and every public appearance became a point of debate. In their eyes, Claressa's actions were less about empowerment and more about spectacle. And so the commentary cycle continued. Every supportive post met skepticism. Every critique met defense. In the middle of it all, the viral clip loomed large, replayed endlessly, shared across platforms, dissected in blogs and forums. It became a symbol of how private moments can instantly transform into public currency. Beyond individual opinions, the incident sparked broader conversations about empathy, boundaries, and public scrutiny. People began questioning the mental and emotional toll of living under the relentless gaze of the internet, where every reaction is dissected in real time. Claressa's situation became a case study in the psychological pressures of visibility. What this moment revealed more than anything was the tension between expectation and reality. Claressa had long been expected to be strong and unwavering. Papoose's mockery highlighted cultural discomfort with vulnerability, especially in powerful public figures. Ultimately, the incident didn't end neatly. There was no resolution that satisfied everyone. What remained was a lesson in the complexities of public life. Moments of vulnerability can be misunderstood. Mockery can amplify pain. Social media distorts reality. Claressa's breakdown, Papoose's mocking, and the fallout became a microcosm of a digital world where emotion becomes entertainment and private pain becomes spectacle. In the aftermath, Claressa's image was more complicated, but also more human. Fans gained a deeper understanding of her strength. Not the strength to appear unbreakable, but the strength to continue despite being broken. By the time the dust settled, one truth was clear. This story wasn't about winning or losing. It was about humanity. Vulnerability isn't weakness. Emotion isn't a flaw. And true strength lies in the courage to show your authentic self, even when the world is watching.